What if one moment, just a glance and a wink, made the world turn against you? What if millions of people called you a traitor? Not because of what you did, but because of what they thought they saw? In the summer of 2006, Cristiano Ronaldo became the villain. Not in Spain, not in Italy, but in the very country he played his club football, England. Accused of betraying his teammate. Booed in every stadium. Dragged through headlines and hate. They said he'd never survive it. That he'd run. That he wasn't strong enough. But what they didn't realize was that this was the moment he became unstoppable. This is not the story of a scandal. It's the story of a transformation. How the most hated man in English football turned silence into focus, pain into purpose, and came back not just to win, but to dominate the world. This is the moment Cristiano Ronaldo stopped playing for approval and started chasing greatness. Germany. Summer of 2006. The air was thick with expectation. Flags waved from balconies, chants echoed through city streets, and the world was glued to their screens. It was World Cup time. And while most eyes were on the usual giants, Brazil, Germany, Argentina, one country was quietly building something fierce. Portugal. And at the heart of their fire? A 21-year-old with wild hair, fast feet, and something to prove, Cristiano Ronaldo. Back then, Ronaldo wasn't the legend. He was the kid. The flashy winger who loved stepovers, who sometimes fell too easily, who celebrated with a little too much fire. But no one could deny it, he was special. Lightning fast, fearless, and obsessed with winning. Portugal had a squad that blended experience with promise. Figo. Deco. Ricardo Carvalho. And then there was Ronaldo, the future. He'd come off a strong season with Manchester United. He was growing fast, both in game and ego. And the world? They weren't sure what to make of him yet. Was he a genius, or just a showman? As the group stages passed, Ronaldo was sharp. He wasn't scoring a ton, but he was dangerous. Every touch, every run, unpredictable. By the time Portugal reached the quarterfinals, the tension was thick. Their next match? England. And here's where things got interesting. Because back at Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney weren't just teammates. They were brothers in arms. Rooney, rough, explosive, raw talent. Ronaldo, polished, technical, electric. They trained together. Ate together. Sometimes even laughed at each other's accents. Now, they'd face off. Not in practice. Not in friendly banter. But in a World Cup knockout game, where everything was on the line. The media? Oh, they ate it up. Ronaldo versus Rooney, friends turn foes. Red Devils collide. Only one will come back a hero. The press painted Ronaldo as the show-off. The actor. And Rooney as England's lion. The one who would lead them to glory. Ronaldo didn't bite. No interviews. No flashy quotes. He stayed silent. Focused. But behind the scenes, he was locked in. Sources say he trained harder than ever. First to arrive, last to leave. There was something in him. A quiet storm building. A need to prove something. Not just to the world, but maybe to himself. His teammates noticed it too. Figo, a legend in his own right, took him aside before the match. "Play your game," he said. "Let the noise stay outside." Deco patted his shoulder. "Don't chase the drama. Let the ball talk." But Ronaldo didn't say much. He just nodded, laced up his boots, and kept moving. The night before the match, Portugal's hotel was quiet. But in Ronaldo's room, a storm was brewing. He watched clips. Studied England's backline. Replayed old games in his head. And then, he stared at his phone. A message from his mother. "Play with your heart, son. We're proud of you." He didn't reply. Just smiled. Because he knew. Tomorrow wasn't just another match. It was a test. Match day. The stadium in Gelsenkirchen was packed. White shirts. Red jerseys. Flags, horns, chaos. As the teams lined up in the tunnel, Ronaldo stood behind Rooney. No words. No eye contact. Just deep, focused breathing. When they walked out, the crowd roared. But Ronaldo didn't hear it. All he saw was the pitch. All he felt was heat in his chest. This wasn't just about Portugal versus England. This wasn't even about friendship. This was about identity, reputation, legacy. And somewhere deep down, he must have sensed it. That in the next 90 minutes, everything would change. Not just for the scoreline. Not just for Portugal. But for him. For how the world would see him. Love him. Hate him. Or maybe, both. The game had barely hit the hour mark when everything changed. It was the 62nd minute in Gelsenkirchen. Hot air. Tense legs. 100,000 eyes watching. Portugal and England were still locked in. 0-0. But the energy? Explosive. And then, it happened. Wayne Rooney, England's golden boy, lost it for a second. He was tangled with Portugal's Ricardo Carvalho. One push. One stomp. It didn't look intentional, or maybe it did, depending on who you asked. But the referee's whistle was sharp. Sudden. Final. Players swarmed in. Portuguese jerseys pointing. English ones defending. Rooney stood there, trying to explain, trying to calm it down. And then, Ronaldo appeared. Cristiano didn't scream. He didn't wave his arms like some players do. He walked, calmly, to the referee. And he said nothing. He just looked. At the ref. Then at the spot where Rooney had stepped on Carvalho. And then back at the ref. A silent message. The ref pulled out red. Straight red. Rooney was out. And in that exact moment, just seconds after the decision, Ronaldo turned toward the Portuguese bench and gave a quick wink. A small, almost unnoticeable wink. But not to the cameras. They saw everything. And by the time the match ended, so had the internet. England was furious. Fans. Media. Pundits. Ronaldo betrayed his own teammate. How could he do this to Rooney? Kick him out of England. Newspapers splashed it across every front page. Wink of shame. Backstabber. Traitor to United. The footage was played again and again. That wink. That moment. It didn't matter what Ronaldo actually said, or didn't say. The story had already been written. Back in Manchester, things got uncomfortable. Ronaldo was set to return to a league and a team that now doubted him. Reporters followed him at airports. Fans booed him in preseason matches. And even some of his own teammates kept their distance. It wasn't just a media storm. It was personal. People weren't just mad at Ronaldo the footballer. They were angry at Ronaldo the person. But here's what people didn't realize. Ronaldo had grown up with pressure. He knew what it meant to be doubted, to be disliked, even hated. And instead of breaking under it, he sharpened. Back to the match. Portugal played on, one man up. They pushed. England resisted. But no goals came. Extra time dragged. And so, penalties. And who stepped up for the final kick? Cristiano. With the entire stadium booing. With millions waiting to watch him fail. He walked up to the ball like it was nothing. He stared down the keeper and slammed it home. Top corner. Clinical. Cold. No celebration. No smile. Just turned around and jogged back. Almost like he didn't care. But he did. Inside, it was boiling. Because Ronaldo knew. This wasn't a win. It was a beginning. A beginning of something darker. Something harder. He didn't just beat England that night. He triggered a storm. In the days after, the calls came. From agents. From friends. Even from United's inner circle. Are you okay? Do you want to leave the Premier League? Do you think you can handle this? And to all of them, Ronaldo said the same thing. I'll come back stronger. And he meant it. Because for him, this wasn't the end of a chapter. It was the start of the most important one yet. After the final whistle in Gelsenkirchen, Portugal celebrated. They were through to the semi-finals. But Ronaldo? He didn't look like someone who'd just helped his team win a World Cup quarter-final. His face was still. No shouting. No chest beating. No grins. Because even as the fireworks went off outside the stadium, he already knew. He was in trouble. The next morning, British newspapers went nuclear. Front pages screamed his name. But not with praise. With venom. Ronaldo's wink of betrayal. England's new public enemy. He should never play in this country again. It didn't stop there. TV pundits, former players, fans, all joined in. Social media exploded. Thousands of angry comments. Threats. Memes. Even some of his own Manchester United fans turned cold. And back in Madeira, his mother cried when she saw the news. Cristiano flew back to Portugal's training camp. But it wasn't the same. Teammates congratulated him for the goal, the win. But there was an invisible wall now. He'd become the guy who winked. The next few days were brutal. He tried to focus on the tournament. Portugal had a semi-final coming. But his phone buzzed non-stop. His face was on every screen, every cover. And the narrative was out of his hands. Did Ronaldo get Rooney sent off on purpose? Should the FA investigate? Can he stay in England after this? No one asked him. No one waited for a statement. The judgment had already been passed. When Portugal finally got knocked out, losing to France, the attention turned back to Manchester United. Ronaldo was expected to report for pre-season in just 2 weeks. He thought about not going. Seriously. He told his agent, maybe I should leave. Maybe Spain. Italy. The media fueled it. Rumors of a transfer to Real Madrid spread like wildfire. Papers said he wanted out. That he was afraid to return. But here's what nobody knew. Cristiano didn't run. He landed in Manchester quietly. No big entrances. No Instagram posts. Just a black hoodie, sunglasses, and headphones. At Carrington, United's training ground, the atmosphere was cold. Some teammates gave short nods. Others didn't say anything. Even Rooney stayed distant at first. But Ronaldo didn't flinch. He trained harder. Stayed late. Watched every replay of last season. He told himself, you have 2 choices now. Break or build. That season, 2006 to 2007, something changed. He didn't talk as much. Didn't show off as often. But he worked like a machine. And slowly, the tide began to turn. Game by game, he won people back. With every sprint, every assist, every goal, fans started cheering louder. Not because they forgot the World Cup, but because they couldn't ignore what he was doing on the pitch. He was unstoppable. By Christmas, even Rooney had come around. They scored together. Hugged after goals. The media tried to stir up drama, but it was over. That year, Ronaldo finished with 23 goals, countless assists, and a league title. He didn't just survive the hate. He used it. He took every headline, every angry chant, and turned it into fuel. He didn't run from the fire. He became it. 2006 was supposed to break him. The media came for him. The fans booed him. His own teammates didn't know what to say. But Ronaldo? He did what almost no one expected. He went quiet. And then he went to work. At Carrington, Manchester United's training ground, something had shifted. Gone was the overly flashy kid who danced over the ball. Gone was the boy chasing applause. In his place? A machine. Ronaldo started arriving before anyone else. 6 a.m. sharp. First in the gym, last off the pitch. He trained like his life depended on it. Weights, sprints, finishing drills, video analysis, free kicks, recovery sessions. Every hour of his day accounted for. Teammates noticed. Gary Neville once said, "We used to laugh. Now we just try to keep up." He stopped responding to interviews. Didn't give the press anything. No drama. No quotes. No winks. Just goals. Just work. Because deep down, he wasn't just trying to prove a point to England. He was proving it to himself. That he could control the narrative. That he didn't need to beg for approval. That success would silence everything. Sir Alex Ferguson noticed it, too. At a press conference, when asked about Ronaldo's redemption, he smiled. They'll stop booing when he starts scoring. And that's exactly what happened. Week by week, Ronaldo turned hate into highlights. Every away game, fans booed him. But it was like fuel. You could see it in his eyes. He wanted the ball. He wanted the spotlight. Every sprint looked faster. Every dribble sharper. He wasn't playing football anymore. He was building a legacy. Rooney eventually reached out. Quiet chat in the locker room. "We good?" Ronaldo smiled, shook his hand. Always. No drama. Just closure. And from that point on, they were dangerous again. The duo terrorized defenses. Goals. Assists. Celebrations. The media tried to keep the old story alive. But it was done. On the pitch, they were fire and thunder. The 2006 to 2007 season finished with Manchester United lifting the Premier League trophy. Ronaldo had 23 goals, 14 assists. But it wasn't just the numbers. It was how he carried himself. The way he walked off the pitch, game after game, like a man on a mission. No screaming. No ego. Just fire. And when the season ended, they asked him, "Did you expect this? After everything?" He said only one thing. "Hard work speaks. I don't need to." But he wasn't done. That season was just the foundation. 2007 to 2008 was coming. And with it, domination. Because now, he didn't just want respect. He wanted greatness. And he was willing to outwork the world for it. By the time the 2007-08 season kicked off, something had changed in Cristiano Ronaldo. He wasn't just a footballer anymore. He was a storm. Controlled. Precise. Relentless. Everything the world threw at him, the hate, the doubts, the noise, he used it. He let it burn inside, not to destroy, but to transform. United fans noticed it from day one. He wasn't playing to entertain anymore. He was playing to dominate. First match of the season, goal. Next week, another. And another. Headers, screamers, Tap-ins, free kicks. Left foot. Right foot. Didn't matter. Defenders stopped trying to guess what he'd do. Because by the time they figured it out, the ball was already in the net. The boos? They didn't stop. Especially in England away games. But Ronaldo didn't flinch. He'd walk into hostile stadiums like he owned them. Smile at the jeers. Deliver the punishment. And leave without saying a word. Because now, his game was the message. By Christmas, he had already scored more goals than the entire previous season. Pundits stopped calling him a diver. They started calling him the best in the league. Opponents double-marked him. Sometimes triple. Didn't matter. He'd still get free. Still score. Still celebrate with that calm, open arms pose. Like saying, what else do I have to prove? And behind the scenes? Same story. Still first to arrive. Still last to leave. Recovery ice baths. Diet plans. Extra sprints after everyone left. Teammates joked that he trained like a man possessed. He just smiled. Because to him, this wasn't obsession. It was purpose. April 2008. Champions League semi-final. United versus Barcelona. All eyes on Ronaldo. Could he finally deliver at the highest level? The answer? Yes. Not just because of the goal he scored, but because of the way he carried the team. He chased every ball. Defended like a warrior. Took hits. Gave hits back. And when United made it to the final, he didn't celebrate like it was enough. Because it wasn't. May 21st, 2008. Champions League final. Moscow. United versus Chelsea. Ronaldo scored the opening goal. A perfect header. Textbook. Timing. Precision. Confidence. But it wasn't smooth after that. He missed a penalty in the shootout. Dropped to his knees. Thought it was over. But fate, and John Terry's infamous slip, gave him one last chance. When United won, his tears said it all. Relief. Redemption. Release. Later that year, Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or. The same player they said was selfish, arrogant, a cheat, was now the best in the world. Not because of talent alone, but because he refused to break. Because he chose to fight back with goals, not words. With discipline, not drama. With obsession, not excuses. He didn't just silence the hate. He outlived it. And that, right there, is what made Cristiano Ronaldo unstoppable. Not the trophies. Not the speed. Not even the goals. But the mindset. The refusal to let one moment, one red card, one media storm, one betrayal, define him. He rewrote the story. On his own terms. He was supposed to fall. They wanted him to. The headlines. The jeers. The doubt. But instead, Cristiano Ronaldo turned hate into hunger. He didn't complain. He trained. He didn't explain. He scored. And with every goal, every silent celebration, he rewrote the story they tried to trap him in. Not with words, but with work. They booed him. And he bowed only to the game. Because in the end, greatness doesn't ask for permission. It earns it. Thanks for watching the Ronaldo Chronicles. If this story moved you, like it moved us, consider subscribing for more moments that shape the legend. Drop a like, share your thoughts below, and let us know which chapter of his journey we should explore next. Until next time, stay inspired. And never forget, sometimes, the world hating you is just the beginning of something greater.